from the all 4 workshops. So I will start with a couple questions, and since we are still a relatively small group, feel free to unmute yourself if you want to answer any questions I pose. We would like to pin you if you talk, so if you want to be pinned to the front of the screen, please also turn on your video, but it's also not necessary. And after the questions, you'll be able to join the breakout rooms, which we've labeled for each workshop, where the workshop leaders will also be in there. So you can give your comments, maybe give some feedback for them, and also continue any conversations and ask any questions you had from the workshops. For those of you joining us just now, feel free to listen, but then also join the breakout rooms as well, and maybe get a little taste of what you missed. So without further ado, our first question is, what is one thing you will take away from the workshops? It could be in general, or it could be specifically towards a workshop.
So can we just talk now? Are we still
Yes.
a small enough group? Something that I take away from all of the workshops is the importance of crediting people for their ideas and also tracing where your thoughts come from. So I think I got also a new, like I now value in a different way the academic habit of crediting, because I feel like it really points out what our thought processes are, where our logic comes from.
Yeah, that's a really good point. The kind of reflecting on where we get our ideas and how we've built them. So thank you, Alina. Does anyone else want to share?
Yeah, I would like to. I think I probably want to take away, because my schedule, so I only attend one workshop, is a hidden curriculum. And there's a statement, well, like the curriculum always related to the politics. So I think that's the thing that I would take away, because when maybe in the future, when we touch the curriculum, or when we are become the curriculum designers, we always have to kind of like awareness what kind of thoughts or like what kind of things that we want to put in, and it's always related to the politics, or even though we want to try to avoid it, but somehow like our own experience and our own background and even our own learning process experience already have that inside of us. Yeah, so that's the thing I want to take away. Thank you.
Yeah, I also attended that workshop as well. And I always struggle with, when I think about hidden curriculum and how to tackle it, I always want to try to solve it instead of maybe doing the personal reflection on what am I trying to maybe teach or maybe reinforce to students. So that's a really good point, Betty. All right. Okay, let's see. So I'll move on to the next question then. What are some new perspectives you encountered? Were you challenged or maybe changed your idea about your thinking about accessibility? One thing I took away, because I was helping out yesterday, I was helping out with the refugee workshop. And one thing I kind of was changed for me was the difference in my own personal terms that I use for situations, and then also the legal definitions of terms and how that can be quite complicated in media, and then how that kind of shapes the overall society as well. But also how important it is for me to really make sure I understand the terms, especially when I want to take action in my community. Oh, Alina, I see that you made a comment. Would you like to share as well?
Hi, I'd like to say something. I'm glad to be here, and I found something new in our discussion. And in our daily life, in my daily life, I didn't pay much attention to refugees. And I mainly talk about the pandemic and the education. The discussion expand my version of my thought. I will pay more attention to special education, especially those students who in special needs. When we discussed in the group, we come up many strategies to help the students. We come up what the needs are, and we also discuss how to support a adult refugee in this afternoon, and it brought my mind, and I never thought about a refugee. I live in China, and I never think about being a refugee. I realized that the refugees is a big problem in the world, so not in China. I got something new from the discussion, and thanks for all the discussion. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing. I'm glad you were able to take a lot away from our different workshops.
Yeah.
Oh, Tukwa.
Hi. I want to say thank you for the workshops. This is the first time I joined the Burning Questions, and like I said yesterday, I was thinking of accessibility, like accessibility to technology because of the pandemic. But these workshops changed my mind because actually before the pandemic, we also have some challenges about accessibility in terms of special needs and hidden curriculum. Actually, hidden curriculum was my favorite, I think, because for example, in the workshops, there was a question like, can we really appreciate racist identity? Why we thinking of appreciating different identities? Can we appreciate racist identity? And after the workshop, I thought like, yeah, we cannot, but maybe if we create a equal environment, and if we manage to make this idea inside, if we can put this idea into our students, they don't have to think like they are racist, or they will not spread the racist identity. They will think of they will think that everybody is equal and we should treat them like equal. So yeah, I wanted to mention that. Thank you so much for everything. I really like the way you organize workshops, and I really thank you for all of you guys.
Thank you, Tuba. All right, now it's time where you can go into the breakout rooms. Leaders, if you could join your breakout rooms. We've labeled group discussion 1 for refugees, group discussion 2 for SEND, group discussion 3 for pandemic, and group discussion 4 for hidden curriculum. If you have any troubles joining the breakout rooms, please message into the chat, and Natsuha or David will help you get to where you want to go. Also, feel free to bounce around the other workshops as well. To answer Betty's question, you don't have to go into the breakout rooms now, but that is sort of the main activity. If you want, you can join some of the other breakout rooms, especially for those of you who weren't participating in the workshops. Feel free to start your own discussions in the individual discussion breakout rooms.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, welcome back, everyone. Sorry if we cut any of your conversations and feedback short. However, we do have about 1 more minute until we start our 15-minute break. However, please feel free to enter the breakout rooms again for individual discussions if you'd like to continue. However, in the next 15 minutes, we'll be doing our closing panel tech run through. So we appreciate it if you want to continue your conversations to move into the breakout rooms. Thank you.
I think the breakout rooms are not open.
Hello.
Hello, welcome, Annette.
Nice to see you. I have the problem that I'm not in Skype.
Oh, do you have the link?
I have the link. I
Okay,
used the link. The link first told me that I have to install Skype. I did this. And now he tells me that he doesn't find the link between the program and your link.
Okay, we'll get back to you soon.
Okay,
A moment.
Hi,
Thank you.
Hi, can you see me?
I see you.
Hi, very
It's a
good.
burning fire. That's great.
Yes, I am. And also my face looks like it's on fire myself, but I mean, or maybe like it's in ice, but yes, it's good. Thank you so much for downloading Skype. Do you see the link in the email that I
Yes.
sent you for Skype?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. Can you please double click on that? It should be the join.skype link.
Yes. And then you hear the noise.
I hear no noise. Nope.
Oh, okay. So he makes blum, blum, blum. And then he said, when I make double click, this link doesn't find the program as the program is not where the link supposed the program to be.
Okay. Okay, then, and that's I'm going to resend you the link. This might be better for you.
Okay.
Go to your email again. Okay, I just sent it to you now. It should have gone through.
Okay.
It says that there's a problem with your link.
It says that there is a problem with the link you sent in connecting with my laptop.
Okay, good. to know. Thank you. Let me then, wait, okay.
And the problem is, I can imagine what the problem is because of the security of my laptop, the programs are not where Windows is supposed to put the programs.
Aha, I see. Well, then let me try this for you. This might work for your security. I sent you a second link. Can you try and join that?
Yeah. There's a problem with your link. Try it again. It says, so I tried it already.
Okay. Did you get my updated email? It should be a
Yeah,
shorter.
yeah. I got your updated email. It is linked with a Zoom link. So it is together with a Zoom link.
Oh, no, I sent you another email just right after that at 3:19.
Aha, okay, there's another one, right? This is coming now.
Should be shorter.
Yeah, it is shorter. Says
Great.
the same thing.
Great. Yes, could you click that shorter link?
I did, and it says doesn't work.
Interesting. Are you in the Zoom chat? Can you look at the Zoom chat right now?
I'm with you linked with Zoom.
Okay, if you can go.
To the chat, yes, I can look. There's nothing in the chat in the moment.
Oh, okay. Give me 1 second.
I give you even 20 seconds.
Thank you.
Okay, I see this. Should I check? Should I now double click this?
Yes, please. And actually, first, can you turn off your video here in Zoom? Just to stop video down at the bottom left side of your screen.
Yeah. This I know how
Great.
to do this.
Excellent. You can put your chat on. That's fine. And go ahead and click that link. It should bring you to a screen that says join Skype, open Skype, or join as a guest.
And it says, it shows this, but before, so this is what you said is in the background, but before there is a double X in red saying the program is not allowed and not to work with this. And then I have to click, but now I made okay, and now, no, all the time if I say start this doesn't work. I have only the possibility to install Skype newly. What I can do again, what I did already twice, but I can do this again.
Okay, that would be great.
Yeah, the problem is, okay, but I do this. Now it says it's already there. I say yes, open it. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Do we want to install? Yes, I want to install. Install.
While you do that, I just want to say hello to Dr. Esim and Dr. Audrey. Good to have you both with us. Can we get a mic check from you?
Yes. Hello. Hi, Matt.
Hi, very good to see you. Are you joining us from Turkey at the moment? No, actually.
No, I'm in Helsinki, actually.
Oh, wonderful. Same time zone, so not too early.
Yeah,
Or too
very
late for you.
close.
Very good. And hello there, Dr. Audrey. Good to have you with us.
Hello, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. How's it going? You are here in Oulu still, I believe.
Yes, I am in Oulu, but I have, I can hear you pretty dimly. Like when we were talking on Skype with the other people on Skype, like the sound was a lot louder, but now like my volume is full blast in Zoom and I can barely hear you guys.
Okay.
So I'm not sure how to solve that problem.
Let's see if that's an issue on our end.
It might be on my end, but I'm not quite sure because of the Skype and Zoom. I'm not sure what to do.
Check.
How did you get into Skype? That's my problem.
I just click on the link of the Skype. For me, it worked very kind of easily.
I see a person from my university, which might be in the Zoom and telling me what I could do.
Zumindest eine Idee davon.
Hey, Herr Wenz, wieso kommen Sie da auf einmal her?
Naja, ich bin schon den ganzen Tag hier. Auch wenn es so aussieht, als wäre ich in der Nähe von Linamer Campus. Nein, ich bin auch hier in der Konferenz.
Das kann ich jetzt nicht machen. Das habe ich schon 5-mal gemacht.
Hm. Also es könnte an den Einstellungen liegen, dass das, wie Sie es schon vermutet haben, woanders abgespeichert wurde in Bezug auf die normale Installation, als das normalerweise abgespeichert wird und dass dann die Universitätsfirewall das nicht zulässt irgendwie.
So I have a question. Could you call me into the Skype, because I have a Skype? Could you just call me into your Skype meeting?
Absolutely fine. Yeah, can you please send us your Skype ID in the chat? And we'll get
My
our
Skype ID. Where do I find?
give us 1 second to access that. We are getting you.
I find it. Wait a moment.
Could you give us your Skype?
It's Annette Schoenflug, my normal name.
Okay, we're adding that now. Schoenflug, yes. At Nuremberg, Germany. Yes.
Right.
And we are adding you to the call. We are ringing you.
Ah.
Hello, welcome. Wow.
Yeah.
Panelists looking so good.
Yeah, now it's working. I'm happy.
We are too on this end. Love how the sun is coming in. We're just being able to see the sun now up here in the global north. So I'm very jealous of the sun right now.
And so you see me and you hear me and everything is fine, right?
Yes, I do believe so.
For me on Skype, I hear you double. So I think on Skype, you have to mute your microphone. Oh, yeah, you have to mute your microphone and then unmute in Zoom. Because for me, it's a big loop because your microphone is active on both Skype and Zoom.
So I need it on
Skype.
On Skype, and I mute it on Zoom.
When you want to speak, it's the Zoom for the microphone, and it's muted on Skype all the time.
Yes, so Dr. Annette, could you leave your Zoom unmuted and your Skype muted? Oh, now we cannot hear you. You need
so
to.
Is it good now?
Good now, yes.
Uh-huh.
On Skype, or is it fine now? Great. Okay, we're just doing some configurations on OBS.
So.
Okay. Essine, how are you doing then down there in Helsinki?
I'm fine. It's been very, very snowy here, as I'm sure it's much worse or much better maybe in Oulu, but all fine, yeah.
So you're living in Helsinki?
Yes, I do.
Ah, okay. Nice.
How about you?
I'm fine as well. I'm living in Germany.
Okay.
And we have no more snow.
Okay.
And Audrey, what about you? You are in Oulu.
I am in Oulu, yes. With the snow and everything, I guess they're plowing the snow as we speak now in my yard.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still trying to figure out my volume because, yeah, like it's at the very maximum in my headphones now. And I don't know why it's like that. And I don't even hear that well, and it's full volume.
So perhaps you can look in Zoom in audio and then go to, and then look there.
Yeah.
We have the same output settings here on our end, the same that we've done the entire time. So I wonder if it's on your end.
Yeah, and I don't know, for me, like it always works really well. And when I was just using Zoom before, it was working really well too. But now for some reason, because of the Skype and the Zoom, like there's a big kind of a noise in the back, and I have to put it like to the maximum volume for kind of barely hearing you guys.
Could you try and exit and re-enter? Wait 1 second.
The Zoom or the Skype?
Both if necessary. Let's just try to get a restart on your end, just so it's more comfortable for you.
I'll try just Zoom to start and see how it works.
Sure thing. For everyone who's in the chat, thank you so much for joining. We are just running through some technical preludes before the closing panel. So thank you for hanging tight for the next upcoming closing panel.
Hi, Matthew. Can you say something?
Yep, I'm saying something right now. How does it work for you?
Again?
Hello, hello. Check.
Yeah, it's the same.
Oh no.
Well,
Audrey, did you try leaving and coming again?
I tried leaving the Zoom, but not the Skype. Maybe I leave both and I join both again.
Yeah, leave both at the same time and then try come back again.
Yeah, okay.
Great, thanks.
Usually the Friday sessions, the last sessions on Fridays are not the best ones because people rush for their Friday evening plans, right? But now I guess this might be one of the few social events people are having, so we might have.
Possibly. Oh yeah, coming from all around the world as well, or at least in different areas, makes it more difficult. So Audrey, could you try again?
Yeah, I've reloaded on both and it's still the same thing. But well, I guess we can just go with that.
Okay, are you using a Windows?
Yeah.
Down at the bottom right-hand corner, you can open up, and of course, maybe you tried this, but you can open up volume, go to the volume mixer and check if Skype is louder than Zoom. And then if this way, you can turn down Skype all the way and turn up Zoom all the way. That way, when you increase your master, it should increase the Zoom more than Skype, thus eliminating the static noise.
Okay, give me a second.
Yeah, if you right-click on the volume, the bottom right click, and then open volume mixer. That should be it.
Volume mixer.
Gesundheit.
I suggest, Audrey, that you turn off Skype. It's disturbing easily. And then first log on to Zoom. And then
I think now, like with this mixer trick, I think I hear you loud and clear, Elina.
Good.
I guess it's Elina. I can't see, but yes, I
it's
guess
Elina.
it's
You just writing you some instructions that don't use both at the same time, because that is easily mixing the systems easily. So all the voice options, volume, etc. So log on to Zoom first, then use the burning questions, entering code and password.
Okay, but I think it's really good now.
Excellent. Okay, Mike.
Thank you.
Good. Dr. Annette, you're there live?
I see everybody.
Great to see you. Okay, Dr. Esin?
Yes, I'm here. Hi.
Great. Good to have you. Okay, people in the chat, thank you so much for joining. We're going to go to a little transition right now. See you back in a few seconds. Thank you very much, everyone. Today's closing panel, I am Matthew Zwicker here at the University of Oulu in Oulu, Finland. I am a master's degree student in education and globalization, and I am an event organizer here with Burning Questions alongside Mel Aiko and Avery Holm. Today, as you know, right now we are doing the closing panel, which is one of our last events to this Burning Questions 2021 event on accessibility, building education toward a sustainable world. So before we get into our closing panel today, I do want to take a few moments to tell you how we're going to structure this. If you attended our opening panel, this closing panel is going to be formatted a little differently. I will first ask the question from one of you who have responded in your registration on Eventbrite. We had over 370 questions come in from participants with brilliant questions. So thank you very much for your very difficult and burning questions. From that, we have selected 6 questions to go over with our panelists today, although we are aiming at answering a minimum of 4 questions tailored to spend about 15 minutes on each. So the format of the closing panel will be every question will be presented by myself for about a minute. Then this question will be directed to a panelist to give their answer for approximately 4 minutes. Then all panelists will converse informally, having somewhat of an informal conversation and dialogue with each other, open-ended dialogue for about 6 to 9 minutes. And within any of those 9 minutes, you, the audience, can comment in the chat. You can raise your hand to interact live right now with our panelists, and that will actually gauge and engage their conversation. In the opening panel, we're able to participate by asking them questions during a specific time, and that question was left as it is. But in this closing panel, you as an audience member participant can ask your question or give your statement or whatever you want to say for no more than 1 minute. And they, the panelists, can then respond in the mix of their informal conversation. So after that 9 minutes are up, the participant, or I will then restate the question and then move on to the next. Thus, every question should be about 15 minutes, 13 to 15 minutes. So without further ado, I would love to introduce our panelists right now. We have Professor Dr. Annette Schoenflug from University of Bamberg. We have Dr. Audrey Paradis from the University of Oulu. And then finally, last but not least, we have Dr. Essine Duzel, an independent researcher, and I would like for them to introduce themselves. So let's just start from the bottom and going backwards. Let's go with Dr. Essine Duzel.
Hello. So there are shorter and longer versions of my introduction, I guess, and I'll go with the shorter because I want to have a discussion. So I'm a sociocultural anthropologist trained in the US in San Diego. And since then, and I'm coming to this workshop as a researcher and teacher. I've been teaching at the university level, undergraduates, and last year I had the chance to teach master's students at London School of Economics. I research on war, conflict, gender, body, emotions, and currently I'm based in Helsinki. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. Nice to meet you. Dr. Audrey, would you like to give a short introduction? Oh, if you could, I am so sorry, keep your Zoom unmuted would be great.
I'm on Zoom all the time, but it doesn't seem like it. So, hi, my name is Audrey Paradis. I used to be an EdGlow student, just like some of the students that have organized this wonderful burning question. So I've done my PhD at the University of Oulu. I've graduated in 2019 in education. And I am now the lecturer in the EdGlow program and in this unit that organized this burning question. So my current research, although I do a lot of teaching, the research that I'm conducting right now is about community-based participatory research to eventually apply it or make better application of it in Indigenous education and Indigenous teacher education.
Great, thank you so much, Dr. Audrey. And last but not least, Professor Dr. Annette, could you give a short introduction on yourself?
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Annette. I'm teaching and working at the University of Bamberg, which is in Germany. I'm, from my background, a primary teacher. I've been working as a primary teacher, and I'm now more than 20 years in research. My research topics are quality in education, anthropology of education, and global learning. That's it.
Great, thank you so much. And so now we go into our first question. I do believe that this should be directed to Dr. Audrey. We are living in an education revolution. Due to the coronavirus pandemic, we have proved that we can continue educating our society thanks to technology. But is it really the same as contact teaching and learning? Are we losing quality of education, moving all learning experiences to online methods in the name of accessibility? Audrey, for 4 minutes.
Yes, well, I think that a lot of the audience is, a lot of the audience are currently students. And so I guess they would be able to give a really good answer to that question because they have seen education in person and then have gone to education online for a lot of them. So I guess it would be a very interesting question to ask the audience if they feel that the quality has been lost. But the move to the online teaching to enhance the accessibility is not a new move. It has been enhanced because of the pandemic, of course, but it has gone on for a little bit already. And although distance education had started more to serve the underserved communities, trying to give them more accessibility to education, the more that it has gone online and the more that the neoliberal kind of incentives have gone into it, the more it's to reach a wider audience, I guess, to attend courses, especially in higher education. And although we're catering to a wider audience, we can wonder, accessibility has been, one kind of accessibility has been broadened, but then we can wonder, has quality followed? Because if we are catering to a really, really wide amount of students, then we can argue that the quality is not following, that it's really difficult to have greater access and, wider access and wider or better quality. So there were some studies. I went back to some previous articles that I read before that were talking about this distance learning. And in distance learning, a lot of people find that they struggle more with self-regulation, with motivation. They spend a lot more time on the task that they have to do than when they had to be in class with their peers. They feel more alone. It's constructing knowledge on a more individual base and on a less collective base. And so all of those questions, I guess, can be considered when we think about accessibility and quality of education. Can they go hand in hand? If so, how? I mean, those are all questions that I would like to launch to the other panelists and to the audience, because I think the audience has great expertise in that also.
Great, thank you so much, Dr. Audrey. I think that you've hit on a lot of topics that are really at the forefront of our mind right now. So you've presented questions already. I don't want to take away from dialogue, so I will now open up the floor to our other panelists, to Professor Dr. Annette and Dr. Esin, to have an informal conversation amongst the three of you for about 9 minutes. And audience members, you are now welcome to raise your hand or to add anything into the chat to contribute to this conversation. So go ahead, panelists.
Yes, thank you very much, Audrey. I would like to add from my perspective that self-management is now very, very important. And we see in my university and from the research I know that there's a big gap coming. Those students who have already learned in their previous life or in their families a lot of self-management, and those who doesn't. And those who have, they are dealing quite well with this new instrument. But those who have problems, they are really struggling. So that means digital learning is deepening a gap which is already there. And by this, we can really fear that the digital possibilities will not, as much as people thought before, really contribute to social justice and to equal learning opportunity. So that's my first issue I would like to mention. I could continue, but perhaps Izzy wants to say something.
Yeah, I was going to add all the things, all the wonderful things you have said, that I think we are at this moment also debating what the quality of education is. It's such an existential moment that we are trying to understand what education is indeed for and what its future is going to look like. So, and then from that perspective, we really are rethinking what is the quality of it and what are our expectations. And agreeing with Audrey here, I would really love to hear the students' perspectives about how they think about, especially those that make the transition from, contact in present in class teaching to this online, very distant digital learning environments. How would they compare? And for me, being in the class is really important, and I do every kind of activity to make the students feel that they are present in the classroom. But I also am challenged by these prejudices towards digital learning, and thinking about all the roads that it has opened for us, and all the roads that it has opened for accessibility issues too. So I guess this is a very challenging, but also maybe inspiring moment to think about even the quality of education and its purpose and its future.
And not even the quality of learning and teaching, but as well the quality teacher are delivering. So for example, if I compare my own performance in my digital learning and in my real life learning, I think I'm much better in real life learning than I am in the digital learning, because it's very difficult for the 19 minutes, for example, really to have the feeling that people are listening to you if you don't see them. And I lose connection, and I think we have to see that human beings are social beings, and digital tools are not really social. We can't see the smile, we can't see into the eyes, we can't smell and have the feeling from the whole situation. And so by that, I would say we lose a lot if we have only digital learning.
Mm. And to some points in response to what you said, Annette and Esin also, I think, of course, if I think of my performance, for example, as an instructor, my performance in person is a lot better than that I have in online teaching, for example. I think there are many things to that, but I think that also I've been teaching for 20 years in person and only 1 year in online. So I think there is this element of being used to something and training and getting better at it, since I've had such a short practice for that. But also in this quality of education, for me, one of the key component of teaching is really to engage the student and make them active and make them work and make them do things and connect things together and engage with others. And I find that online, this is very difficult. And so I think to upkeep the quality, the students being active in their learning has to be enhanced also. But I find that to be very difficult, especially if we go towards these MOOCs or the very individual ways of learning.
Yeah, but now I want to
right in here. I'm so sorry, Professor Dr. Annette. I do want to ask, allow for one of our audience members to add into the discussion. Anna, could you add your point? Thank you for adding.
Hi, just from a student perspective here, I have been outside of studying for a long time. This is my first year coming back to studies after a long time working, and I came in a very interesting year where I was ready to meet students and, you know, have some camaraderie and everything like that. So I feel like that has been a big challenge in developing this sort of group feeling of shared ideas between classmates, because it's only in the very few breakout room discussions where you have like a good discussion and it goes off topic and you feel like you have a sense of belonging to your peers. And it's in the informal, you know, sort of one-off lunches or outside activities where you get to sort of feel that belonging. So I think still I've been multitasking and involved in so many more things than I usually would be. But as far as quality social interaction, I think I haven't found a substitute for it in online learning. So, but yeah, I think breakout rooms has been where most of the social interaction happens in our student group, as far as like, you know, community feeling. So, but thank you for your input.
Yes, I think the problem is as well that it's not only that informal spaces are missing, but of course you learn a lot by informal learning as well. And this informal learning is supporting often formal learning, and we don't have the possibility in the moment to use it for informal learning. So that's a pity. On the other hand, I have made a lot of positive experiences as well. I have to mention students which are very shy, like much more to ask questions in chat than raising hands in real meetings. So for some of them, it was a big positive learning opportunity. And of course, for my students in the Global South, who had now had the possibility of much more access than they had had before. And that is something we have to value and to see as well, even of course, if there is still room for improvement in this dimension.
Yeah, and if we see education as being part of a society, as being an active part of a society, but rather than being isolated from the society, this form of, as Anna was saying, people have been, or students have been back in their societies, back in their environments. And even though they are trying to multitask and, you know, try to squeeze learning within their other activities in life, you know, being engaged with their families or friends or whatnot, it is also one possible way of establishing those connections between their education and learning with their social environments and personal environments. And this is re-establishing those relationships. And it doesn't necessarily, we cannot really necessarily say that this is a way of diminishing the quality of education. It might be a more different way of education is being considered. It is very interesting that in Turkey, which is where I'm from, on social media, a photo of a student who was shepherding while trying to join online classroom, and she was 12 years old. This photo circulated, and apparently the Minister of Education commented as a good thing how this student was kind of still motivated to join the classroom even while shepherding many shifts. But this was, I think, interesting to think about how people are back to their environments and reconnecting from their own environments, as opposed to being isolated.
Thank you very much for sharing all of this, panelists. I do believe that these anecdotals are valuable and are necessary to direct education here in the future. Thank you. Moving on to our second question to Professor Anette. What activities should researchers develop so that the important topic of access to education becomes more recognizable in its implications?
Yeah, thank you very much. I observe that, of course, there's a lot of rhetoric on the question of access to education. However, there are not enough educational policies and educational activities in order to allow people to have access and in order to change the system for more access. So I asked myself, and I'm wondering whether the research and the knowledge we have is not enough, and how we can be heard better, and what does science need to provide in order to give more perspectives on this important topic. So what I observe is that we have a lot of big statistics about questions of access, and we have them especially in the north of the globe. And what I think what we need more is that we have, first of all, in the northern countries, more qualitative research, which shows us mechanism and gives the stakeholders a voice. And by this gives more motivation and more ideas how to overcome that, how to overcome and how to work on access and education. Secondly, in the global north, I think we need much more research which is linking big data on environment with access, because the problem is as well that we have very big regional differences and not only with differences by groups having access. And we need, in my eyes, much more research in the global south and from the global south, and much more trans-global research on access to education and on the question who is getting lost when in regard to education. And of course, another issue is, in this point of view, how we can work together as researchers to make our findings better visible, not only for the academia, but as well for the public. And I'm really open to all ideas, because I think that there's really a big need in regard to these aspects, and as well to get then research done in a way and reflected in a way that it's helping in a complex world to understand better and to find steps to work in this field. But this was my first ideas, and I'm very open to the discussion now.
And
if I can say something to that, I think, Anette, I agree with everything that you said, and what caught my attention specifically is when you said that there's a lot of research about accessibility of education in the global north, but not enough in the global, not enough in the global north, but more than in the global south, and who is getting lost and where. And I think this is so important, because I find that we tend to approach this accessibility of education from a very kind of top-down idea, that we think, oh, if we make all these steps, then it's going to be accessible and good for everyone. But in every context, it might be a very, very, very different story. So what does it mean, accessible education? And what for? And for whom? And according to whom? And for what purpose? Because all of that is so extremely important. And if all of our research data comes from Europe, for example, then we're missing out on so many different people of the world, and we don't know where they get lost. And if we don't research that, then we won't be able to address this massive problem.
And maybe what I can add to this is that it might not sound surprising, this coming from an anthropologist, but when we see accessibility is reduced to issues about, you know, access to technology, we know that there are several different problems of accessibility, and rather than being lost in these statistics of access to certain tools and mediums, I think it's important to get a good local sense of things, how things are going on in either in Global South or Global North. I don't think we know Global South very well either. I think that in order to understand those accessibility issues, we need to understand the local context, even in more depth, so that, you know, accessibility can reveal, or our research can reveal, the real complexities in accessibility issues that this conference, I think, has handled so well.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I would like to add that this needs more partnership and better form of partnerships in research, because partnership in research is very much driven by the idea of getting better to funds and getting better to excellence. And I think the ideas of justice and the ideas of participation and the ideas of shared values need to be integrated, or should be integrated much more in the research agenda and the research work itself, in order to give voice to much more diversity and reflection of access. Thank you for this comment.
Thank you very much, panelists. I do believe that we have people in the chat, multiple people putting in, saying great points, context is everything, is evaluating educational priorities. We do have one comment from Leah. Leah, if you would like to discuss, we welcome you to raise your hand and turn on your video to share what you are thinking about in your workshop. If not, I can read your question if we don't hear from you soon. Looks like not, so I will share.
No, she's there. She's there, I see her.
Would you like, okay.
I'm here. I had troubles to find the raise your hand button, but I'm here now. Yeah, we had in our workshop, we had the discussion about taking a break from education. Especially during those COVID-19 times. And my question is, would it help to improve the quality of education, because the teacher as well as the students have time to adapt to the online platforms and improve their teaching, and as well take care of mental health issues or other needs they're experiencing right now? Or would it widen the educational gap Dr. Annette was mentioning earlier?
So may I say something?
Yes, please.
Okay, so from my understanding, I think the one problem now we face now with the COVID-19 situation is that it is all the time, if you jump into a crisis, it's very difficult to see how long will it be, what does it mean, and how can decision making be done. But I would say it from the point of view where we are now. I think online teaching and access to education would, how can I say, would gain if we would all together reflect that perhaps in such a crisis, we need to organize our priorities from a new perspective and to get a little bit slowed down. Because I observe a lot that people are very exhausted. I see a lot that for my own teaching and for my own research, I'm not doing it as good as I should do it, because I'm running out of time with all activities, because everything takes now much longer. And so I have really problems in organizing or everything as it should be. And of course, this means that, how can I say, the concentration or the focus we normally have on questions of access, and where we really try to get every student and to look after every student as much as we can. This is something, when I'm self-critically, we are losing, or I'm losing in the moment, just because it's so stressful. And therefore it would be good to have a little bit less.
Thank you very much. Audrey, or do you have anything else to add?
Well, maybe in relation also to another question that I've seen from the panel. So why is education so slow to take changes and to move in one direction or the other? I think it goes a bit in what in the sense that Annette just said, that to reorganize our priorities and to slow down, I think it's a very important idea to explore. But I find also that it has to be a common project for it to work, because I'm thinking often of high school. In a high school, if the teachers and the students decide to slow down and to take things more easy, but then the administration still have the exams at the end of the year and all these kind of things, it's clashing significantly. And so I think that it's long and arduous to undertake changes in education, because there's such a massive structure to align and to harmonize before the choices are made and priorities are realigned. And I think it's very similar in higher education.
Thank you, Dr. Audrey. Dr. Yassine, do you have a final comment for about a minute?
I think, yeah, it all, I think, connects to some of the talk that, you know, there's this questioning of productivity during this period, and people have started to, you know, put a distance to this culture of productivity in the academia. But again, who can put a distance and who can slow down and who cannot is a matter of existing inequalities, of course. I have more things, but I think it dovetails with the other questions we have for the panel, so I'll keep my comments for that.
I agree. So I think we can actually go into that question right now. Just as you said, it transitions very nicely. So Dr. Yassine, to you. How should schools balance curriculum delivery with well-being of students, especially during remote learning during the pandemic?
Yes, I see that as a big issue, and I have been, from my observations of this of the conference, of this gathering so far, it's also one of the issues that you guys have all observed, that there seems to be a dilemma or like a zero-sum game between emotional well-being and knowledge or curriculum transmission. And it seems like if we do one thing, we miss the other. It seems like there's this false dilemma that that is being kind of ingrained in our minds, and that has been exacerbated even further in this pandemic times. It's a big challenge, and I don't think we can solve it quickly, because again, it's ingrained in the systems of education and how we approach to education. So what we can think of is to really show the links between them, how they are actually connected. And as we were saying as responses to the first question, and also the second question, we need to understand how, you know, learning can happen best when it considers students and the learners as holistic beings, not as, you know, blank slates that we transmission information to. If we need to take into consideration the environments, context, how the knowledge is received, all these kinds of dimensions in learning process and in learners, so that the well-being perspective does not come into learning process as a kind of a luxury or as something that can be sacrificed for better learning or better employability or whatnot, how you want to put it. One of the things that I would like to emphasize here, and in line with our previous conversations, is is emphasizing the importance of community building, importance of building learning communities together, and not to leave students, not to leave learners isolated, but to encourage peer learning, group learning, community learning, then to make that as kind of a support for individual well-being. Because on the one hand, while we are arguing for and promoting independent self-learning, my worry is that we are pushing towards more like this self-sufficient individual model that neoliberalism imposes, whereas we need to also, as much as we do that, as much as we think of empowerment of the learners, we need to think about how to build communities, learning communities together, even in these circumstances. So I guess the issue of slowing down, the issue of stopping the education is also part of this question. Is how again we can think of education as a social environment that supports students, so that it doesn't become an impediment to their well-being, but it becomes a support to their well-being, so that the continuation of education, continuation of schools, leaving them open, can also be seen as engaging them in a community, so that they can deal with the isolated, stressed, exhausted times.
Thank you very much, Dr. Esin. You brought up a lot of really good points. Loved your points, especially about talking about learning happens best when we teach to the holistic person or the being of the student as a human being and not as a blank slate as we simply transfer information to. I love that quote. You also talked about the neoliberalism as well, that this is more of a neoliberal approach. I know that Dr. Audrey wrote a previous thesis on neoliberalism as well. So I would love to open up the discussion now to our closing panelists.
That was a long time ago. That was my master's thesis in neoliberalism and impact in education in Canada. So yeah, I can make some loose connections to that. But to the point that you just made, Esin, I think this idea of this individuality that was brought along with neoliberalism, I agree with you that it should be something that we consider very critically, because when we create these communities, or when we give space for communities to come together, it could be so much helpful for the students, for their well-being, because if they have problems, they can share it with their friends, and so they don't have to bear the weight of everything on their shoulders. They can share it with their friends. And I find that a lot of echo is built within communities. And so if it's going well, then everyone kind of benefits from this kind of high spirits and sharing in that. And so I think it's something that is really important to consider. And I had another point, but I forget. So maybe Dr. Annette can continue. Maybe my point will come back.
Yes, what I would like to mention is that I agree with what Esin was saying, and I think it's what she raised as a question is very important. And I think it's a question of quality of education as well, because quality education leads to new insights, and it uses school and learning as a window for the world, as a window to the community, as a windows to new experiences beyond what you have been learning already by your family and by your environment where you are based on. And by this systematic opening, I would say that schools and education are contributing to well-being, because they give orientation if they are well done. And they help to get an understanding of what is going on. And this, of course, is very, very important for mental health and even for physical health. So I would say, in case that school is not leading to well-being, this is a lack of quality education. So I would even be more, how can I say, more outspoken on saying that schools need to lead to health. And if they are not, they miss something. And what I find very interesting, that now through the time where there's no schooling in a lot of families, and a lot of families and students are valuing newly this contribution of school and education, especially the situation of being together and having a social environment as well. And what you said as individual, the balance between individualism and learning, I would say yes, it is not only the empowerment of individuals, it's as well the empowerment of social beings. And by this, it means as well a community, being in a community, having a responsibility, sharing, and so on.
I guess one of the impediments to this is this testing and grading at assessment, all the assessment models we have that kind of encourages competition, that encourages hierarchies and kind of discourages collaborations and cooperation and community. And one of the ways that we can also think about how to integrate well-being with knowledge is to think of very concretely and very creatively assessments, diversifying assessments, making it less sources of stress for students, but as kind of really opportunities for learning and self-reflection and also peer reflection as well.
Thank you very much, closing panelists. Do you have any other thoughts? We do have one person to share, but maybe we can move on to this audience member now. Bruno has a question. If you would like to share it yourself, you're more than welcome to turn on your video, and we'll find you at the top and can just spotlight you. A few seconds for that. And if not, I can share your question.
Which question?
Oh, it was more like a thought on what about unschooling the school?
Yeah. Well, I'm actually paraphrasing that from a project that it's already going on some people trying to understand alternatives in education. So it's not my term at all, but I really like the idea and connected to what we were talking, right? Like understanding the process of schooling and that connection that we maybe make between institutions and learning only happening in institutions or what type of learning can happen inside or not. So it was just commenting on what it was going on in the chat. And actually Magda had a good point about that. So I don't know if she would like to go deeper on that, because I was just adding something on the discussion there. I didn't have a proper question or anything. But yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
maybe
you.
it would be good to, because yeah, for me, I don't see the chat right now. So if I can't really interact with the chat. So maybe, yeah, if Magda or some people had good insight, that's a good idea, Bruno.
Then maybe we can also head on to another comment from Selma Kiuru. If you would like to share your point, as we should slow down from the productivity mindset. Oh yes, we have multiple people from BQ staff as well as from the audience who want Selma to share. So hop on. That'd be very valuable. She's not. Great to have you on. Hi, Selma.
Yes, sorry, I had some technical difficulties. But yeah, like the discussion in the chat going about the unschooling, like not break from education, but maybe from schooling. So I was sorry about that. I was relating that to like shifting away from the productivity or efficiency mindset. And because I feel like we are always kind of struggling with the combination of, or like everyone's like feeling bad, their mental health is not good, but we're still trying to like work harder and quicker. And I don't know, I just feel like that's a cycle that just keeps on going. If we don't stop that, we are still trying to like work harder and harder, and then separately trying to like care for our mental health, and it feels really like superficial and doesn't really, like, in my opinion, go to the roots of the problem. So I don't know, an ongoing process in my head, but if you have any thoughts on that, I'd love to hear them.
I guess this crisis time is really a good moment to reflect on all of those questions, because with everything that goes on, it's everything clashing together or exacerbating problems that were existing already. So it seems that this crisis moment is kind of the perfect storm to get all the problems out and to really make them apparent and visible. And so we can see in number what happens. And it's not nice that it happens, but it's a good moment to assess it. And I found a point that I was looking for earlier, and it's relating to that. I think this idea of going fast and trying to slow down and care for mental health while at the same time working harder and harder and taking years off, that's something that I heard in one of the workshops today. And I was there with the students with different backgrounds. And I remember a Finnish person said that to take a gap year after high school here, it's something that's very in the society, it's very encouraged in Finland. Yes, take a gap year, figure yourself out, take your break from school, explore your interest and your hobbies and life and social and whatnot. Whereas where I'm from in Canada, if you take a gap year, whoa, you're verging on becoming the biggest loser in life because you're losing 1 year of salary, and what are you doing? So I guess the contexts are very loudly speaking to how we think about work and how we want to accomplish things and how we take breaks and for what reasons. I think there's a huge incentive in the society in different contexts about these very issues.
Yes, and in addition, I would like to mention that this is, even in the societies, I would guess the Finnish, but I take the example of Germany because I'm better there. We see from research that there's a lot of differences for taking a gap between the different social groups. So taking a gap from education, this is very common and very nicely seen in the upper classes. But taking a gap from education in the lower classes will not even give you the possibility because there are no means. And if you, for example, are living or you are supported from public wealth, you will even not have the possibility to do it. It will be not allowed because it would be interpreted as taking public money for nothing. What I see very critically, and I am very much, how can I say, lobbying for educational moratorium, so for gap years for everybody, but I think it's a long way to come there. And maybe this is one of the learnings coming out of this crisis that we could have afterwards in order to improve the systems and to work further on more adaptable systems.
Thank you very much. Unless I do want our final, we have time for one last one to get in all of our four. Thank you for your contributions thus far. This last question is a very simple question, but I think it also carries a weight and a theme that I don't think we've really discussed much on the entirety of this event, even though we've touched many aspects on accessibility. but I'm going to direct this question to Dr. Audrey. Very short. What about the right to decide not to access? So Dr. Audrey, 4 minutes.
Just by the way, it's very funny to hear Dr. Audrey. I think it's the first time in my life that I'm being called Dr. something. The right to not access, maybe we can try to think for a second, who would not want to access education? And maybe in your head, you have an idea of who that would be, but maybe in your head, you're thinking, who would actually not want an access to education? And so I think, I don't want to speak too fast. I want to give you a second to think about it, but that's something I've been thinking about. And I think that it really depends what the access of education means for different people. For example, when accessing education is, for example, taking you away from your family because perhaps you live in a very remote area where there's no education or something like that. So if access to education in that sense means taking you from your family, putting you in a school where your language, your culture, your beliefs, your ways of doing and being are not what is there in that school and what the teachers believe in, then do you want this access to education? I'm thinking of residential schools. If that was not clear for many indigenous people of the world, that's something that has happened to them. And so this cultural genocide of indigenous people has happened all over the world, but I'm thinking of this specific group because it's not limited to that group only. I know it's true for very many different peoples of the world. And so when we think about that, what accessibility is for? Because is it to, I don't know, learn to read and write and learn the history of a specific culture and of a mainstream? And so if that is the education that I'm provided and the accessibility to that good education that I'm provided with, then is it worth paying of my language, my culture, my knowledge that I came with? And so, yeah, I thought it would be a good kind of question to put out there. So can you think of other people that would deny access to education for one reason or another?
What a great response. Thank you so much, Audrey. I'll just open it up now to the rest of the panelists. Have a formal discussion and for the last opportunity for our audience members to contribute to our
Yeah, I think you raised a really good point about people who are not represented or included in the school or educational system, not wanting access to that kind of education. On the other hand, I am thinking of those who come from so privileged positions that they can access other ways of gaining the skills that they feel are relevant. For example, families that opt to send their children to private schools instead of public schools because they have the money to do that. They have the opportunity to school their children abroad in alternative schools, for example, if they don't want to I don't know, strengthen the values of mainstream also because those may be too progressive or too questioning for the current power structures of the society. And I think that's the other end of the line where one could be very discriminated against, very in poor situations in the society, and then other end could be very privileged people.
Yeah, thank you, Elina. I was thinking that this question has also been puzzling for me because I was thinking of, or I think of accessibility as a social justice issue, right? social justice issue reflected in education. That is at the core of accessibility. So the refusal, as Audrey said, the refusal to be part of the system might be related to be refusal of the assimilation, refusal of the colonial systems of education, and therefore these refusals, of course, mirror give a different kind of mirror to the societies that we live in. But other than that, taking accessibility as a social justice issue reveals how kind of it intersects with inequalities and injustices and trying to tackle them.
I would like to add 2 other thoughts. The one thought is that the right of education, the right of religion, the right of own culture, and the right of parents to educate their child, these are sometimes in some systems rights which are not brought into cohesion. And to bring these, I think it is one aspect of education equality, that these fundamental rights are balanced and are all seen as important and not one used to diminish the other one. So that this would be my first question. And in this sense, I would say, okay, if education is harming, like as you mentioned it is not quality education I would like to see and I would see as important. My second thought in this direction is that I would differ the answer between education in the childhood and youth, where you learn in order to have access to more learning, to society and so on, and the so-called lifelong learning. Sometimes the discourse on lifelong learning in adulthood, if you listen to it, it seems like condemned to lifelong working on education. And I think we shouldn't be condemned to lifelong learning. It is just something which is a joy and which needs to be done with a free access and a free decision. So, but however, no education in the childhood and as a child, I would say, is violating the rights of the child and should be really very, very deeply analyzed about the reasons and then working on the reasons and adapting education that it fits, but not looking for no access for child and young people. So I would really like to differ between the 2 ages because I see a fundamental difference in between.
Thank you very much, everyone, for sharing. I think that in particular with a lifelong learner and really evaluating the 2 on the fundamental difference is important to this whole theme of accessibility this year at Burning Questions. I do have to wrap this up now and to move us on to the closing remarks, but I want to thank our panelists very much for contributing to today, to Dr. Audrey, Dr. Esin, and Professor Dr. Annette. So much for coming in. And again, audience members, if you want to interact with our panelists, go ahead and email us at burningq.com. And also in the emails that will come out for the wrapping up of the event, we'll send out hopefully their contact information as well. Thank you everyone for the closing panel. Now I'm going to move it to the closing remarks with Mel Aiko.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello, everyone. Let me just set up my lapel mic real quick. Thank you so much to all of the panelists, not just the closing, but the opening ones as well, that have joined us today and yesterday. It has been a great pleasure. And I think I'm going to say something that maybe we all need a little bit right now. Before I say the sponsors, let's take 30 seconds to close our eyes and just to breathe. I'm gonna start us off here. Starting now. I hope that was relaxing for everyone, as it was for me. So, quick shout out to Vise, one of the research groups for our university and has sponsored this event. We also have, I would like to thank Yari Laru from KTK 149. He has given us this lovely space to do our whole event. It was really, really great working with him and figuring out all the different kinds of technology that we need. Lastly, or second last, we got the Rotary Club, local Oulu Rotary Club. They are in charge of bringing local businesses together to support their local students. And thank you so much for your support of Burning Questions 2021. And lastly, big shout out to Grapho Game. They created they create a language learning app, and they did a little presentation. Elizabeth Etta did a little presentation yesterday, and it was wonderful. And lastly, I would like to give a huge shout out to my man, Ridwan, who's been behind the monitors this whole time, these past 2 days. Can we pull you up? There you are. I want to see some hearts for this man. I want to see some hearts for this man. This guy has been doing great work behind the monitors. He's been pulling up all the graphics. Without him, seriously, none of this would have existed. Big shout out to him and the rest of the tech team. Yeah. I think next that we have here is that we're going to have a little bit of closing remarks from our workshop leaders. And as we're getting that figured out, I just want to say I've been really enjoying myself here at the Burning Questions event. I've been having tons of fun. I had the great privilege of being a part of one of the event workshops today. Specifically the refugee workshop, and I see there are some people here who are in the participation or in the Zoom room who were also there. It's great to see you. And yeah, are we going to have the workshop leaders on in a moment? I believe I'm getting word that the first person that will be on will be Ellie. Welcome, Ellie.
Hello, everyone. Sorry, I'm like clicking everything. I wrote up a little something just so my tired brain can thank everyone appropriately. So first, I just want to thank the University of Oulu for allowing this event to continue to run year after year and for their continued support of our students. It is very important to have this platform and environment to discuss these burning questions in a safe and respectful manner. And with such discussions, the future of education will greatly change thanks to all of the wonderful participants, workshop leaders, event organizers, panelists, etc., and their stories and perspectives. Additionally, I just want to thank Matt, Mel, Avery, Natasha, I'm so sorry, Natsuha, David, and Ridwan for allowing myself and the fellow workshop leaders the opportunity to present. We are thankful for all the hard work you have put into this event. As always, keep up the amazing work in all of your endeavors. I would also like to thank Dr. Calypso Philippou for aiding me in my research and supporting me along the way. I'm grateful that our common interest in this event connected us. What you all have taken a part in the product of this product of months and months of hard work, sleepless nights, time difference challenges, and many other obstacles that definitely did not get in our way. I could not be more proud of the work that has been presented. Thank you for listening, sharing your stories, and engaging with the material at hand. It is truly appreciated. Never stop asking questions, seeking the unknown, since now begins Burning Questions 2022, and we hope to see you all there. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Ellie. I do believe you deserve lots of sleep since you are so far back across the pond in the United States. Next up, we have Philip. Philip, take it away.
Yes, thank you. So I was part of the workshop together with Nora on identity and hidden curriculum, and I would like to thank every single one of the participants that joined us, because that was really what created the workshop. We were there to create a space, to create a bridge for your discussions, and we're just grateful that you joined us and truly formed the workshops. And it was a beautiful experience, I have to say. I'm thankful for having this opportunity. And yeah, I also wanted to point out that now you can find all of the links to the created mind maps on the forum of burningq.com if you want to also go through the creations of the other groups. And I'm very grateful for this event in general, and to the panelists as well, because they created the basis for our discussions. There was one point that was very interesting that came throughout the feedback session, and I just need to point it out, which was that teaching is very political and education is always very political. And sometimes we forget to emphasize it's kind of just a burning question that we are scared to open. So I'm glad that in our workshop, we were not scared to open this question together with our participants. And I'm grateful for this event to have provided a platform for such discussion.
Thank you, Philip, for coming up with such a brilliant idea for a workshop. I remember months ago when you first came up with it, I was just like, wow, that is so burning questions. I love it. I love it. I love it. Nora, take it away.
Thank you, Mel. And on my part too, I want to second Philip and thank all the wonderful participants we had who made it possible to have such meaningful discussions in our workshop. Also, thank you to my wonderful fellow workshop lead, Philip, who was amazing to lead a workshop with. And to build on to his point on how teaching is a political profession, I wanted to share the thought, like a general thought from our workshop, of how sometimes a teacher will have to prioritize or will prioritize ideals that create barriers for individuals to really connect with their education. This is an issue of accessibility that made people in our workshop to call for a shift of priorities in the society. It also raised new burning questions such as, should schools be there for teachers to teach or for students to learn? And can schools be equally accessible to all? So to respond to those questions, welcome to Burning Questions 2022, Burning Answers. I am kidding, we will have a new Burning Questions next year. Welcome to that, and thank you all.
Thank you so much, Nora. Maybe we will have a Burning Answers event after Burning Questions. Next we have Kat, I believe, from the Refugee Workshop.
Can you, okay, yes. So I guess just to second, or I guess in this case, it's like fourth, what has been said before. I just want to thank everyone so much, like the EDMs and the EOs were so fantastic, did so much hard work. I can't even begin to fathom, and everyone was just so lovely as well. Like it was just such a genuinely positive and nice environment to be a part of. So I really appreciated that. And I feel like I learned quite a lot myself just in the last couple of days, and just doing the workshop, I feel like it gave me some new thoughts. And yeah, it's been a learning journey. And I just feel I feel so happy that the University of Oulu has supported this event, and I feel like it's so meaningful, and I'm just so happy I could have been a part of it. And I want to say thank you to my wonderful co-host Ileana. She was just so smart and nice to work with, and yeah, just really, I don't know, I just just really appreciate all of you. So thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Anna, would you like to come on and say a couple words for the people?
Yes, sure. I have also here my friend Kat. So I just want to thank everyone because Burning Question was actually it was the first time I participated in this event. So I feel very lucky that I participate with so many great people. And I also wanted to thank Catherine, because when this whole thing started, I thought I'm gonna do the workshop on my own, but then suddenly a breath of hope came. That's Catherine, and helped me go through this. It was great. Thank you all the participants too, because I'm not lying. I didn't say that to feel for you to feel comfortable and better. I really got inspired from you, and refugee accessibility is something that always be on my mind, and try to find more things. And thank you all for being there. Thank you.
Thank you, Ileana. Your hair is looking great, by the way. I noticed it changed from the workshop. Next, we have Anna.
Hi there. Is it going to be possible to share a screen?
Yes, it is.
Okay, lovely. Then actually, it would be Leah who's going to, because in our workshop feedback, we have our poster that's been promised to be put together. We have it ready.
Lovely.
So this workshop was a wonderful experience for me, and it's really depthened the amount of knowledge and questions I have about special educational needs. And we were so lucky to have the collaboration of 3 wonderful expert participants, Lynn Rose and Magaga Enos and Maya Karhunen. And so we were really lucky for that. I'm so happy to have been able to get to know and work with, from a distance, Lee Marcus in Bamberg. And we've had lots of great camaraderie and discussions over the time. Thank you to all the participants who were part of our workshops. The discussions each was unique and special, but we were able to find some themes throughout the discussions that we included in our poster. And I hope that people walk away with insights and more questions to fuel the discussion in the months to come outside of the conference and for next year for Burning Questions. And this was my first year, but I took a lot away from it, and I hope to be in person next year. If not, maybe a hybrid to include all you people from far away and also have the in-person element as well. So it was great. And thank you so much to the organization team, event organization team. Everybody's been really patient and kind and supportive with each other. So that's been really, really special. And maybe actually, Leah, would you like to share the poster? Are we going to do that now?
Yeah.
Yes, I
Yeah.
can.
Okay.
do that.
I'll hand it over to you then.
Thank you so much, Anna. And in a second here, we'll get Leah on as well. All right.
Can you all see the poster?
I can, yeah.
All right. So I also want to thank you, all of you guys, but first I want to show the poster we've created all together. Those are some recommendations from all the 4 workshop sessions we did, and we just put them all into one document because they are all unique and important to remind ourselves. And we as well have some additional comments, not only for the student or the teacher perspective, but also for a general perspective, just to make sure, for example, the access to technology, we wouldn't be able to participate in Burning Question 2021 if we weren't able to have the access to technology. So that is very important. And just so you know, we will send out the document to you after the conference and post it on social media. So thank you guys for that. And I do want to thank my co-host Anna for joining me and creating that wonderful workshop with me. It was a pleasure, even though we weren't able to see us in person, but it was very nice to be able to participate from Germany, as well as all the staff members. It was very nice to talk to you, to have all the long Zoom meetings, especially in the last 2 weeks. We had very long very funny and Zoom meetings just to check out the technology. And Ridwan, you are killing it. All the designs, especially to Lotta, they're absolutely amazing. So thank you guys. And it would be a pleasure to be part of PQ 2022. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Leah. I love that you guys have made something concrete. I can take that home, bring it to my school board and say, look, this is what we're missing. Love it, love it, love it. And I do hope that eventually we will have a Burning Questions, at the very least, as Anna said, a hybrid event. Yeah, so I think next we have a couple words from Alina.
Yes, what can I say after all these good words and then the great event? I think what I would like to say is that yes, you have created accessibility to changing the world, and I think this is what I do believe in, and we have evidence of as well in the research, that it is essentially community that can change things. It's very difficult to change education systems, massive education systems, and all these, like you talked about, very different challenges, and you also found solutions and created connections. And I think this has been a successful event in that way, what I hear from you in your discussions, and everybody's looking forward already to the event, burning questions and burning answers, but maybe also burning dialogues in 2022. So I would like to welcome you all to the University of Oulu, to our home university. And I would like to also really acknowledge all the work that you have done, you organizers, especially of course, Avery, Mel, and Matthew, but all others as well, workshop leaders, panelists, everybody. Thank you so much for making this possible as a successful event. And I think what I think is also, how do we change education? This is one way of doing that. And I may claim something of that because I started one event when I came to Oulu 2017. And then I told my students, can you do it next time? And that's when the tradition started. And this is now the third time. And we are all enthusiastic about seeing the fourth event already in line. And I think this is something that is important when we think about education, we as professionals. I think it's very important we make ourselves sort of disappear in the picture, and we trust our students. And this is at the core of culturally responsive education as well, that we do expect and we trust our students will do their best. And that puts emphasis on learning. And I think I would like to congratulate you all for doing this and building this learning community. Thank you so much. I promise to be very short. And this is all what I want to say. So we look forward to seeing you again next year in a hybrid mode, I hope.
I also look forward to seeing you in a hybrid mode as well. Thank you so much for your kind words. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I think next we're going to have a little bit of a word from Matthew here.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Mel. What a great job hosting this year.
Oh,
what a great job. How do you feel?
I feel like I had so much fun. Honestly, I had a great time. This was my first time ever like hosting this sort of event, especially in front of a camera. So I've learned a lot. I've learned to hit that record button. And yeah, I've had a great time.
I can agree with you 100%. It's been such an invaluable experience. And I know that many of us here feel the same way through the discussions that we've had in the workshops and in the breakout rooms. Of course, during the opening panel and closing panel and everything in between. But I truly believe that Burning Questions as an event is invaluable, not just to the learning experience, not just to the learning path of students and to all of us as well, since we're all students. But the nature of this event is vital for learning in general. This highly participatory dialogic discourse atmosphere is what is necessary in the learning of the future. And maybe that's too metacognitive for the future, but for the present, this is what we need now. We've discussed what problems we're facing now in the pandemic. We've talked about problems that people like refugees are facing on a day-to-day basis and the realities that they're facing. So you have problems with within students who have special education needs. And you also have problems in a sense, or the dilemmas of hidden curriculums within school, within academia, and even the problems within accessing one's own identity. All of these themes and many more were brought up in the workshops. On top of this, the opening panel's closing panel gave us a really good insight into many different topics. I won't even begin to start because then I couldn't finish. But all that to say, Burning Questions 2021 and Burning Questions as a whole event in general is necessary for the learning of today. Throughout our discussion and interactions in between workshops and in between the formal events, I really believe that the informal conversations that we have between participants is perhaps the most memorable takeaways from conferences and events. And I use conferences with quotations because this event that is Burning Questions should not be viewed as what is normally viewed as a conference with hosts and workshops where you go and you learn and you sit and you listen. That's not the heart of Burning Questions. Just as Mel so beautifully said yesterday during the opening and the introduction, Burning Questions was started in a pub asking, why are we doing what we are doing? And can we reimagine, can we redesign, can we rethink education? So in this, I want you to take away something that Sharanya Menon, one of the event organizers from the first Burning Questions, one of the founders, she told me this year at the beginning of the planning stage. She said something I will not forget. I told her about the theme that we've chosen on accessibility and the workshops themes that we want to approach and just some of the planning process that was going on behind the scenes. And she said, okay, it sounds great. It sounds like you guys have a good direction, but don't forget that Burning Questions is not just an event that you need to continue every year and keep it the same with the same spirit per se. But instead, the whole element behind Burning Questions, the undertowing of Burning Questions is to keep rethinking what we are doing. So she said, if you consider something about Burning Questions that you need to change, please change it. Don't keep doing things the same just for the sake of tradition. That's not what we want. That's against what Burning Questions is. So an encouragement that I want to give to you, one of two encouragements that I want to give to you, is to never stop rethinking, never stop reimagining, never stop redesigning your reality, your perspective, and never, I say never, give up on your opinions, no matter how far-fetched or how unorthodox they may be. Secondly, throughout these informal conversations that I mentioned before, I had one with our tech team member, Ridwan, a few nights ago. And he said something that, it's a word, it's a Turkish word. And I found out that my Turkish is horrible, like the pronunciation. So if I mess up, Ridwan, correct me, please.
It's okay, so is mine.
Yeah, and I feel so bad because I try to practice Dr. Esin Düzel, her name so many times. And like the L goes in front of the teeth. Anyways, there's this word, it's called hoja or hojam. Yeah, hoja. Hoja. Hoja in Turkish. And I won't tell you the meaning. Instead, I'll tell you its origin and then you can see what it means. Back in 1967, there was this professor, his name was Sinan Cemgil from Ankara at one of the local universities, 1967. And he, as a professor, back then and even now, many professors are seen on an elitist standpoint. He would come around to the bus stop, to the canteen, to the food stations, to the room service personnel, and he would call everyone Hoja. He gets on the bus, hello, Hojam. Hojam means essentially teacher, This professor, who had an elevated status, so to say, went around to everyone that he saw, and whoever was a stranger, he would call them hoja. And in Ankara, this became such a mind-blowing, not phrase, but mind-blowing practice that someone of a higher stature would be referring to someone as another teacher. It's such a humble position to take. But he recognized that everyone you see on campus, off campus, wherever you go, in the marketplace, they are a potential hoja, your potential hojam. So in this, please know, and please take away that when you see someone else, don't just see them as some type of status, elevated or unelevated, whether it's a professor or a student, somewhere in between, or a CEO, who cares, whatever, because everyone is a hojam. Everyone can learn something from someone else. In fact, this phrase has been given the connotation of, quote, you know better than me. I think that that's the spirit that we need to have when we come to learning, when we come to have dialogue with another person, that we wouldn't come to have conversation where I say, hey, let me share something with you because you're going to learn from me. But instead have that humble spirit that I would call you hojam, my teacher. Let's do that in every conversation that we have, coming out of here in Burning Questions. I know that I have learned from many teachers here in the workshops and even from my peers. Everyone, thank you so much for the beautiful Burning Questions. I do want to right now transition to some of the logistics and then hand it off to Mel. Some information dissemination that is really important. As the workshop leaders have said, they have posted their links to Padlet, to Menti, to AnswerGarden, to screenshots of their things on the forum page at burningq.com/forum/whatever their workshop name is. Please go there and find that information. Secondly, I do want you to just be reminded to utilize the forum website. There's already replies and questions being asked on there. Multiple replies on each question and each discussion. So continue the conversation by going to burningq.com forum. Lastly, we highly value your feedback. We want to know what went well, what didn't go well, what could go well next year.
Yeah.
So your feedback is also so valuable. So you'll be getting an email very soon. I don't know if it's already been sent out, but whether that would be today or in the next couple of days, please do fill out this feedback form. It's short, not going to take a lot of time, but it is going to change Burning Questions or influence how we execute Burning Questions in the future. And it will determine whether or not you may want to be involved with Burning Questions at your university. Because right now we organize it here at the University of Oulu, but we really do want this whole notion of Burning Questions to continue on into other universities and that other students even take this on and maybe even host their own Burning Questions at their university.
University of Bamberg. Burning Questions Bamberg even.
Burning Q Bamberg.
Burning Q Bamberg.
Oh, make your own Instagram now.
There you go.
Great. But everyone, thank you so much. Look forward to that feedback form, and we look forward to hearing more from you in the feedback and on the form on the website. Thank you so much. Mel, do you have anything else to add?
Well, I would like to thank you so much for that small little story. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I hope you have had an enjoyable experience here at Burning Questions 2021. I know I've learned a lot. I've learned how we should redefine education in ways that makes it more accessible. I think one message that definitely hit home right here is something that Magaga Enos said. One must consider the basic needs of the students as part of the educational experience. I think most importantly, I would like to share some of my thoughts of what I will be taking home. As an event organizer, I would like to get how much, let me rephrase. There was a lot of feedback that I received throughout the entire day and throughout the entire yesterday. And I love hearing about it. And as a leader, it's good to absorb all these certain feedbacks, such as one, I think it was Bruno in the virtual morning coffee that thought about how we can, as not just Burning Questions, but as a university and our recognizing our hierarchy in higher education, how can we be accessible to the rest of the people who are not within our fields? So there's any suggestions you can come up with. This information, again, will be used in the future, and I will getting everything that I've learned from this past, not just couple days, but past couple months of planning with all of the lovely Burning Questions staff, and I will make sure to pass it on to the future Burning Questions leaders and other staff so that they too can also have an amazing event. I'm so happy to have shared this experience with all of you, and I hope you continue your story of burning questions at home, in class, at work, wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much. Stay safe, and I look forward to seeing the ideas and solutions put into action. Farewell.
Oh, virtual photo.
Oh,
I was about to say that virtual photo.
Yes, everyone wait, don't leave.
It's a photo.
You. Instead, we are going to take a quick photo. So if you would like to have your video on, we would love to take one group screenshot since we can't take a group photo in person. So let's go ahead and open up that gallery view. Oh, look at all those beautiful faces. Burning with questions. Yes. Oh, okay. And if you do not want to be in the photo for any reason, please keep your video off, and you may also rename your name to just being in a space or like a period or something if you do not want to have your name included into the photo. Or you could just leave. That's also an option. So why make it more work, right? So here we go. We'll just give you about 15 more seconds to leave or to put a period on your name. Huh?
Who's taking it?
I can take the screenshot.
Okay.
Okay. Are you there? Ridwan, you're there.
Oh, hello, Ridwan.
Okay, everyone's ready. Okay, we have 4 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so this is actually going to happen in 2 screenshots since we have many pages. So here's the first photo. Everyone smile in 3, 2, 1. Yes, excellent. And here we go for the second photo on the second screen. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Beautiful people. All of you are so beautiful. Thank you so much for coming to Burning Questions 2021, Accessibility, Building Education Toward a Sustainable World. Hopefully see you at the next Burning Questions 2022.
Hope to see you. Farewell.
See ya.
Thank you.
Natsuha?
Yes.
How's it going?
Hey. Thank you.
You, I don't know if you, yeah, you can see me. I'm pointing. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Big
I see
MVP.
you.
You guys want to say something to Natsuha, Philip, Nora?
What am I supposed to do? Hello, Natsuha. Oh, catch.
Okay, I was confused. I'm sorry. I'm not intelligent enough for this 21st century technology, but thanks for being there for us workshop leaders, Natsuha. It was very smooth, and also
Aw.
you, definitely thanks to you. Who would like to take it? Avery or Nora? Here we go.
Thank you. Natsuha, you rock. You are the best. Thank you so much. Like, I always felt like we could count on you and like you would check with everything and like if I was feeling well that first day and everything. So thank you. And I feel so strange talking to a box. Like she finally lost it. Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry. I was like, what? This is so bizarre. Hi, Natsuha.
I see you now.
You my greetings to Kyoto. I miss it, and yeah, I look forward to having you back here. So maybe we can discuss more, and you can come for tea and stuff. So yeah,
Yes, for sure.
it will be good to
Thank
have you.
you.
Yeah, thank you. God, I think it's like, it's like it's like I'm making a very technologically edited prayer, but thank you. The confession box. All right. Bye. We are done. Yeah.
Thank you so much, all of you.
Oh, thank you, you guys. You guys did such an amazing job.
Yeah. It was wonderful. Thank you so much for hosting and running around and doing the workshop and all of this.
Thank you to you and for all of your great suggestions. And I second Nora. And you know, we should all, when we're all, because you're in Kyoto right now, right, Natsuha?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you going to come back?
Yes, I'm planning to.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, let me know because I would love to hang out.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
Okay. And yes, thank you, Matthew, Melvin, Avery, Nora. You guys did so great. Really. Okay, I'm going to go. Bye.
Bye.
Because none of us have slept in 2 days. Okay. All right. Anything else needs to be done? What are we doing? Yeah.
University laptops, our laptops, stream setup.
Wipe down tables.
Wipe down tables.
This what the it'd be kind. It's like, oh, we have to actually clean. Yep. And then that's it. Go for it. That's how. What are you up to? You gonna?
Yeah, I wish I could help you clean the studio.
That like 30 seconds of breathing was so impromptu. Like I got there, I was like, I need to close my eyes for a second. And then you guys started laughing, and then I started trying. I like this experience, just a floating and
What do you say?
Oh, Mel is talking about how the 30 seconds of just breathing was very impromptu. He needed to out and close his eyes for a second.
Well, what made me laugh was you like opening your eyes and like,
Also, you missed it. All three of them turned into hyenas at one point. They were just laughing nonstop.
Really?
Yeah, I have no idea what happened, but they just lost it.
Oh.
Yeah, it was in the closing panel. All of a sudden I turn over and they're like trying to hold their laughter. It's so funny. Mel?
Floating upper torso, closing its eye and then peeking as well. I don't know. And I didn't expect this meditation thing to happen. So I didn't expect it either.
So they're laughing at his floating head, and when he closed his eyes, he peeked again, and it just set them off. Yeah. Bye, Nora.
Bye, Nora.
I wish we could have gone back there. We should. Yeah. When Natsuha finally gets back to us, we'll all go for coffee at that cafe.
Yay.
Yeah, hope for no spiders. If we can. Otherwise, we might have to rotate so it's not 10 people.
Mm.
Otherwise, we just take over the cafeteria down there and just put everyone like on opposite ends. Bye. Yeah, I want a wrap up party.
I also took some videos, so blooper reel. I'm also recording this right now too. Yeah.
Oh, it is recording, isn't it?
Yes, so, yes.
Well. Oh, Natsuha, did you save the chat?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I just did. Yeah.
Is it right there? Also, what are we gonna do about those cups?
I'll put them back up there.
Is it open?
I don't know. I'll put them back up right now.
Yeah. I know. Have a good weekend.
Nice, have fun.
Bye.
I think those are the only two.
Did David leave already?
Yeah, he had to go pick up his
Oh, okay.
But luckily his gums stopped bleeding.
Hmm. Good.
Fully online event.
We did it. It's over, you guys.
Woohoo!
What you have to do is send out thank you cards.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can you hear them?
No.
No.
Yeah, you turned it off. Yeah. I thought you were I thought you were handing it to me because I was about to say something. Oh, no. Sorry. Okay.
Everyone's tired. No one knows.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Like literally like right before, or it was actually during the workshop.
Mm-hmm.
Your workshop reflection. During the workshop reflection,
Mhm.
I just like because
Mhm.
after that second workshop, I was actually like, you know that moment when you're in class where you like kind of blink and you kind of fall asleep with every blink. I was like,
Uh-huh.
and then I was like thinking to myself like, oh, I have to go on stream and be happy, and like an hour. Yeah. So I
You
was like,
seemed happy. Yeah.
did I look
Yeah.
happy? I hope I looked happy.
Yes, yes, you succeeded.
Yeah, but we did it. We executed an totally online event that was very professional.
For the first time, even. Wow.
With only minor hiccups.
I'm so thankful. I'm also remember that like one time, like
Oh yeah, I was worried that it was gonna like short, but no.
What was that?
Oh, just they were worried because the night before on Wednesday at 7, the whole system restarted just out of nowhere, and it like crashed the whole system. So we were a little worried that that might happen again, but luckily it didn't. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
I mentioned it to David, and David said that his work is like that. That at 4, all the lights shut off and all the computers turn off. It's just a programming, so you can resume as normal, but it's just a program.
Yeah.
Might be something here.
That's scary.
Everything off at 7. Matt, are you still good to take the other 2 laptops? Okay. We can return them to Alina on the 2nd or 3rd. Yeah. I guess this weekend I'll buy thank you cards. This weekend I'll buy thank you cards for.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Do you wanna
Stuff that wrap-
handwrite it?
Yeah, we have.
Mm.
Otherwise, we can grab some of the guest people as well. Yeah. Like it's not like we needed to have gifts today, you know. Like it's just more of a actual thank you. I think it's pretty cool though that we got those emails from Magaga.
Yes. Yes.
Good questions, good event. Everybody liked it. Oh yeah, by the way, we definitely Yanni definitely had a class in here like at 3 o'clock or whatever.
Yeah.
When I went upstairs,
Mm-hmm.
myself
Yeah.
Not our problem anymore.
Yeah.
Because we told them multiple times.
And he agreed multiple times.
And he agreed multiple times. So, yeah.
Apparently, there's one of those kind of screens up there too.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I mean, if that's all you needed, then. Yeah. Wait, did he ask if we could move? No.
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think you would. That's too much confrontation.
It's for a conference too, yeah. That
Yeah.
he's getting a lot of promo for. Also, Yachty, just know Yachty probably just straight up forgot that he had class today.
Really, he forgot it.
Because like the tools were there for a while, right?
Yeah.
And he came out like immediately, like in a rush. He's like, "Are you guys still using the place?" I was like, "Yes." He's like, "Oh, okay."
We think Yachty forgot that he had class today because you didn't see it, but we had a group of students open the door mid conference, and they're just like, or like,
today.
What are you? And then they stick their head back and they're like, "Is Yachty here?" And we're like, "Nope." And we told them, they're like, "We have a conference going on right now." and then Mel ran into Yachty and he's like, "Are you still using the room?" And yes, until 5. He's like, "Oh no." So we think Yachty just straight up forgot. Even though we told them like 3 times. Or he thought he canceled class but didn't actually send the email.
Yeah.
Okay.
I attended a conference with him last year. Really good speaker. Oh yeah.
Ugh. Okay, we're packing up.
Thank you so much for cleaning up and everything and being there and letting me join from here.
before my brain completely shuts off for the evening. I
Yes.
get your initial thoughts, feedbacks, comments for today.
Now?
Yeah, just now. Just
Uh,
have to be super in depth, but just a few like I don't want to forget points.
I wrote something down.
Yep. Welcome to winter. You need a external battery.
Is it there? No.
Trying to think. Because some of the comments that we made yesterday were like the full run through with panelists the day before, the full tech check.
Yeah. Maybe for the closing panel as well, but then
Yeah.
it worked really well. We had the time to deal with it as well. It didn't really, I don't think it really bothered the participants either. They were really patient as well. And then
For what?
like, you know, we were like running late a little bit, but then it didn't really change
Yeah.
anything just because we were running a few minutes late. So
Yeah. So it wasn't bad.
yeah, it was not at all. Oh no.
Oh, sweet. So the lag wasn't bad either. That's good.
Yeah.
That's something like we actually cannot control.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, it went on highest for the quality,
Mm-hmm.
and I was too scared to put on too low because I didn't want to cut off in the middle of the feed.
Yeah.
Like better have the second lag.
Yeah.
Mm.
Did you ever go into like probably not, the breakout conversation?
No,
Or,
I didn't.
no. I know David went in there, so maybe I'll ask him what
Mm-hmm.
those ones, or I'll ask the workshop panelists how they're.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it looks like everyone was participating in stuff except for Juan and Barbara, who are in their very last breakout room by themselves.
Yeah.
That's okay because they only attended the opening and closing panels anyways. So
Yeah. Yeah. I tried to talk to them like, hey, like, do you know where to go? And but they didn't respond, so I don't know. But yes, it was really nice that you had all these different discussion rooms for each workshop, so they could choose and go, and then they were like evenly
yeah, I was
participating.
for that because last year I think people kind of flooded one area that we had. So I think it was good. It was I was that it was even.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then during the break, it looks like a bunch of people joined the hidden curriculum. So yeah, so that was cool.
I don't know, a lot of positive things, really.
What else? How do you think the closing panel went? Was that a good change from the first one?
Yeah, yeah. They were, you know, not like answering the question, but then they were more like conversating. So that was really nice. The panelists, they were just like having a conversation together, and then the floor was open all the time, so they could just like jump in as well, the participants could jump in. So yeah, it felt like a conversation, like a big one going on all together. So yeah, it was really nice, not just like listening to their opinions. Yeah.
This is our first year having us different, or at least, well, last year we just had the same panelists for opening and closing. Do you think it was like the closing panel still tied in well with?
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. All right. Well, that's my brain. My brain is done. I'm fried.
It's good.
Oh, like initial feedback. I'm trying to collect just some like off the top of your head, like comments, feedbacks, compliments, sort of things.
I think the host needed more sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you may have already said this, but maybe a rehearsal with the panelists.
Yeah. For closing panelists, would you still do that at the same, would you just do all of them at the same day, like the day before? Or,
I think it would be good to like at least, yeah, with the rehearsal, you just check it with like with Skype and everything.
Yeah.
Both the hosting and closing on the same day.
Yeah.
That's all you would practice for that rehearsal.
yeah. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. That was
Like
good.
1 day rehearsal, just like nobody has to show up except for tech team.
Yeah.
That was something that I listed too, of like if we do a run through again, have everyone who's using a computer or using a room be here at the same time, so that Ilka, who's probably checking all of the computers and connections,
Yeah.
can check everything, so we don't have the Matt trying to log into the other computers and not being able to. So
Mm.
have that maybe a little bit more like scheduled, I would say.
Yeah.
Not having a tech run through, be like, this is a tech run through. All the workshop leaders were checking your computers this hour. Like,
Yeah. With the workshop leaders. Yeah. That would be nice. Yeah. For example, today, Eddie said that she didn't know how to record.
yeah,
And then we kind of, assumed that everyone was comfortable with the idea, but then I just realized that we should have tried that together beforehand.
I think Matthew said that he was going to do a workshop. Matthew said he was going to do a workshop with the workshop leaders to show them all the things about Zoom. But I don't think that happened. I think I just kind of.
I was saying I'm available for you guys.
Right.
We did say that, but
We did say it, but then I guess from the leaders themselves, they didn't have any like drive to do that. So I guess we didn't assume that they're good with Zoom.
Yeah.
straight up didn't ask me questions about how to use Zoom. It said ask everyone else about me.
yeah.
What do you say?
Oh. He was just saying that even though he offered many times and people knew that they could come to him, they were still not coming to him. They were asking other people instead. So
Yeah.
it
That's
might be
weird.
a personality thing, but it's something to keep in mind though, of instead of just offering with the tech run through, just make a workshop.
Just do it.
Yeah, just do it.
Awesome.
Yeah. But I know, I get your point, Matt, because we did offer like second workshop opportunities as well, like many times, and yeah, I know.
Yeah, and that's fine, because I think it was also, we didn't really decide to record and share that with everyone until kind of the last couple days.
Yeah.
But then they're just like, wait, I don't know how to do that. So
Yeah.
maybe as EOs and EDMs, clarify what you want to be kept at the end. Like if you want to record something, make that known. If you want them to keep like whatever they produce, make that known.
Yeah.
When
So yeah.
And that way those questions are going to come up probably because of that. So instead of just sticking everyone in a mandatory Zoom class. So
A lot. No, but I mean, like, how much is a lot? Like, I think for each one, I think it's
1,600?
each one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
No.
Dude, it's not. They're not just lights. They also turn warm, and they have gradients of warm and cold.
Dude, you can buy a lamp.
they're debating the fancy lamps.
Okay. So I guess the next step is to just clarify where they can put all the stuffs in, like all the materials, the videos, and the chats from the workshops.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did say there's forum, but maybe they don't. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess
know.
also if we haven't scared you away from being an EO next year, maybe this is for future stuff, but consider what this would look like hybrid, like what a hybrid event would look like. Because a lot of people really enjoyed kind of this online portion and being able to attend. But I think you'd get more people if it was in person as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for like the hybrid thing, I imagine like your main event, right, would be completely online, and then but maybe like one of those days you have like a workshop, and of course the
Yeah.
closing and opening panelists are live broadcasted. Yeah, yeah, like a workshop, and then something like that.
That would be, yeah, maybe just having that one online workshop.
And I was also thinking, because you'll have like the event host, and then you'll have like your online hosts. I'm imagining, you know, those people at like the conference, they have like the camera and they have the mic, and they're going around to people, and they're like, how do you feel about burning questions?
So basically, you nani shipone.
What are
Sorry, I didn't even say that title right. It was what is it? You nande nihon ni nantoka. What's that favorite, or what's that really famous TV show where they do that to foreigners at the airport?
Yeah. Yeah. You wa nande Nihon ni kita? Or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like maybe they wouldn't stream the whole time, but like, or maybe they would. They would just keep going. They would just keep roaming around, interviewing people. Hey,
Roaming burning questions.
roaming, yeah. No, roaming questions. That's the name of the stream. Welcome to Roaming Questions. Here I am with Avery Home, third year EDM. Oh no. Also, yeah, keep up with the current Burning Question staff. I'm interested in being a part of the summer transition team because I plan on, I plan on being here in Finland for a while. So I definitely want to be a part of the summer transition team, because I feel like because of how good of a, I guess, work culture we developed this year, I have a feeling a lot of people wouldn't mind coming back and doing it again.
What if we get money from LET?
But what if we get money from LET?
What if we get money from LET to pay you?
Yeah.
Internship. Because you're using this space, dude. This could be your thesis. I was telling you this before.
Actually, Alina is kind of keen on someone.
For sure.
Yeah, because your supervisor would be Yari. This is all this equipment's for research, technically, but we used it. Yeah, it's for students to create a creative space. Oh yeah. How are you feeling, Natsuha? No, it was just us two.
Good. Good. I was almost crying before by all these nice messages.
Aw.
Thank
How was
you
that?
so much.
Hopefully I didn't look too dead at the end there.
Hope you? What?
I hope I didn't look too dead at the end there.
No, you didn't. I couldn't tell that you were falling asleep.
Okay, good. Because I did, even when I was on there, I was like, try not to blink, or else.
No, you're such a good actor. Really.
Okay, good. Yes, the lifelong skill of burying my emotions is.
That's sad.
Yeah. I think in the future, yeah, it would be good to like, because Ururwa made this observation when it was both Matthew and I on the 180, there was more energy. So maybe
Mm.
maybe more of that.
Like, even though people were joking about it being a podcast and stuff, I think it was a lot more welcoming and a little bit, and a lot more, yeah, more engaged, just more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, people were more sharing and yeah,
People were laughing and reacting more.
Yeah.
reacting more.
emojis and stuff in the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just off the top of my head, it's like it's a scene that's familiar with them, so they know how to act in that kind of environment.
Mm. Yeah, it's more friendly and informal.
This could be your thesis, Ridwan. How can the makerspace do things?
Interaction, a post-human perspective using burning questions. You get excited.
Post, there you go. Light that fire. Sorry, I'm like not doing anything.
Yeah, we should disinfect everything. Wow, that smells actually a good idea.
Well, if they say it's a good idea, then I'm gonna keep doing it. Oh, that's the receipt? Oh, okay. What time is it over there? Is it like super late at night?
It's 20 to 1. Yeah.
1:45.
Not late. Yeah, not late.
Okay, okay. Gosh. I guess you're like used to this sort of I was about to say life cycle. Yeah, let's go with that.
I cannot hear you anymore somehow.
As I was saying, you're probably very much used to the hours that you're currently at right now.
I've been actually struggling to go to sleep. I have problems sleeping since I moved.
No, hold on. I'm just like, there's no. I can hear you. 1 second. Say it again.
I was saying that I've been actually struggling with going to sleep since I moved here. I don't know why, but I cannot get this right.
Oh, really? Well, I think it
Yeah,
probably has to do with burning questions, honestly.
I don't know. Yeah.
So are you thinking of staying on the team at least through summer?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm engaged in the wrap up team, so I think I'm gonna keep working on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
You too? You're gonna do the PhD?
Actually, I've decided to not do a PhD.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, great news to me. Everyone's shocked. I don't know why, but really? Really?
Yeah, I've decided to not apply for the PhD.
Wait, when did that happen?
I guess that happened a couple months ago, or not months ago, 2 weeks ago, as I was applying for this job. And I was thinking to myself, like, oh gosh.
Making money, yo.
Well, that was part of it, but also kind of like, I don't know. I kind of miss just not being in school. Like, I miss like just clocking in and then clocking out.
Yep.
And then like my thought of like my thought of like going into a PhD program for 4 to 5 years and also doing more research. That's the thing. Like I like doing research, but I'm not in love with it. So
I like learning. I just hate producing papers.
yeah. Honestly, like if I could, I hate writing with a passion. If they could just tell me to like do a 2-hour TED talk on my PhD thesis, I would just do that instead. But I'm so bad at writing. I'm much more, as you maybe tell, I'm a bit more comfortable speaking in front of people than turning in a paper.
You're such a great host. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you could do a TED talk. Why don't you?
I could do a TED talk, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and also like, I'm like 75% serious about this, Matthew. Burning.
Say bye really quick.
Bye. Wait.
Okay, what?
I was just gonna say like, Burning Questions podcast or radio podcast, something, because
down.
we have all the content. All the
I'm really
questions
down
are
if you
there.
want to. I'm really down.
And we
help with the streaming and the upload. I can put it on Spotify, I can put it on Apple Podcasts, I can put it everywhere.
and we have the space and the technology.
You do podcast too?
Well, the EdTech Talk, I did one episode with.
Yeah.
Mel.
I remember that. Did you use Simplecast?
No, we use Spreaker.
So yeah, that's something we can,
Oh, yeah,
more,
like
more burning
Spotify
questions
is on
content we can
Apple
churn
Podcast.
out.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I have a podcast.
Anyway, thank you so much. Go get some sleep. I know I will sleep for like 15 hours. Bye.
Yes.
Have a
Go
relaxing
have a sleep.
weekend.
Thank you so much.
But it's called Mahalo Mondays, which Mahalo is thankfulness, gratitude. I have about
Say bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye.
You can just look at that.